to guard the high jump boots. And it's fine. It works in the context of this game. But I wonder, like, what you had to give up to make this is that sense of having a maze-like boss area, like you did in the original Metroid. The sense of having a hideout number 1 that you could really get lost in, because you really can't anymore. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. I'm not sure if they thought about it much beyond, hey, let's put the high jump boots up there and do something with that map. It doesn't make the game feel bad, but it makes it feel very not like NES Metroid. But there are other aspects of the NES Metroid they decided to leave intact. For example, they changed Samus's physics, they removed her wall jump. Even just her movement physics are much different. You'll see, instead of having some momentum when she moves forward, like, she reaches her top speed immediately, and it's very noticeable when you jump with her. Like, the jump, it's like she's a rocket ship taking off, and it feels so weird. And I wonder if that's just the closest that they could get to NES jumping physics using a Super Metroid as a base. And because that's as good as whatever program they were using allowed them to do, or as good as their assembly knowledge allowed them to do, they just said, okay, that's good enough. When in reality, it's very janky and weird and doesn't feel at all like NES Metroid or Super Metroid. Whereas if I think they left the physics alone and left the wall jumping in, then what you have is, well, first of all, you have a very different goal. Now the goal is not remake NES Metroid. Now the goal is, what if NES Metroid had SNES Super Metroid physics? I think that would have been a much cooler way to explore this concept than to make these physics changes. Like, yeah, the wall jumping makes a lot of stuff easier, but what actual repercussions does that have for NES Metroid? What if NES Metroid had a wall jump? Suffice it to say, they've removed the ball jump thing that I was doing, the little... Well, I wasn't sure if it was a glitch or emergent gameplay, so we can't get into that door using the ball jump, but we still can get into the door because we have the high jump now. I'm still going to go to the bottom of this shaft, just because I felt like getting hit by the little gold guy. So don't worry, I'm still not good at the game by any stretch of the imagination, just in case you were wondering. So, I think the goal of faithfully recreate NES Metroid in Super Metroid as a ROM hack, I think that is an interesting take. But that's not what this guy did, because he changed a lot of the physics to be different from both games. He changed the order of the items. He made the game much more linear than either of the two base games are. And the other goal I think would be interesting is, what if NES Metroid had Super Metroid's quality of life stuff? The map, the wall jump, the physics, etc. But he didn't do that either. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what the haps is here. Here's Kraid. I wondered if they were going to do like a if they were going to have Big Kraid in the game. This is where rapid fire really helps, by the way. Or if they would make the bosses immune to standard beam shots or something, but they didn't do any of those things. They didn't even hack in the long beam. And you'll see in a minute what actually replaces the long beam in the game. Also, they replaced the energy tank in this room. Or they removed the energy tank in this room. It's just not there anymore, as far as I can tell. I do want to point out that I haven't actually tried going to fight Ridley first in this game. It's possible if you bomb jump over that wall, or if you just come down here and get the high jump and leave. But that Kraid fight is a little different from both the regular... obviously the giant Kraid in Super Metroid, or the mini Kraid. And I think little changes like that are inevitable. And adding in the little boss fights, the Bomb Torizo... One other boss fight we'll see later. Adding those in, kind of interesting. You do get to explore the bosses from Super in new locations and settings. I just destroyed my entire... No, I didn't. I can just wait till the blocks reform. Yeehaw. Maybe. There we go. Even just the layout of this room has been changed. This is supposed to be just vertical shafts of blocks that you have to shoot your way up. Why was that changed? If it was changed because, hey, those shafts are annoying in the NES Metroid and nobody likes them, that's fine, but then your goal doesn't align with, I want to remake NES Metroid. And if they were changed because, oh, Super Metroid doesn't have anything like that, and this is a Super Metroid ROM hack, then that's also fine, but you've also removed a lot from the game of what makes Super Metroid special. The wall jumping, the floaty physics and things. So I would love to hear from the creator of this ROM hack, and just, if he even had a design goal, and he may not have. It may have just been, hey, I downloaded the software and I had a fun idea and I wanted to try it. Also, I need to go in here and get an energy tank that I forgot about. I'm going to grab that real quick. I should have grabbed it going to Kraid, because Kraid can actually kill you if you're bad at games. This wall here that you have to bomb through, any version of that wall in the game that just has lots of bomb blocks as you roll through a full screen of basically empty wall, they removed the bomb blocks. So instead of that, you just have the empty blocks in the way. Just kind of strange design choices that were made quite a lot. I should say, though, on its own merits, I don't hate this ROM hack. I don't think I would have enjoyed playing it much if I wasn't familiar with NES Metroid. There's just enough changes in the game. We'll see one here in a moment when we go back up into Brinstar. There's just enough changes that if you're relying on your memory to get through NES Metroid, it's gonna trip you up. And I've seen some YouTube series of people playing this game where that's happened too. But I also think if you don't know NES Metroid very well, there won't be a lot of appreciation for what's in this game. I think this is a good example of what I'm going to call a community ROM hack. What that means is it's a ROM hack that can be pretty well appreciated by the community it's in without having a lot of widespread appeal. I think if you like Super Metroid ROM hacks, this is probably a cool one to download and play around with. If you don't like Super Metroid ROM hacks, this isn't going to replace anything in the Metroid series for you. I think that's okay, though. RPG Maker games back in the day were the same way. I spent 5-6 years working on an RPG Maker game, and it was fine for people who played RPG Maker games. Most of the people that liked it are people who made RPG Maker games themselves and understood the limitations I was working under and understood what my design goals were in the rare cases I actually had any. Whereas there is a 0% chance that it has any widespread appeal at all. And I think that's fine. I'm glad there are game development communities out there for these hobbyists who make ROM hacks, who make RPG Maker stuff. I think that very few of those kind of titles deserve the accolades. Ah, here we go. So we killed Kraid, and there's a Kraid statue. And if we hadn't killed Kraid, this is your indication. There would be a wall here we couldn't get through. So he's kind of replicated the Zero Mission boss gating. The unknown items from Zero Mission that open up later in the game by using the boss gating from Original Metroid. And what we just got was the charge beam, and so there's no actual charging in this game. It just gives you a charge shot every time you fire. So now we just have unlimited charge shots. I do feel that way about lots of hobbyist game communities, not just like ROM hacks and RPG Maker kind of stuff, but even in like the itch.io kind of community, a lot of indie game dev communities. I'm glad there are people out there doing it. They're sharpening their skills. I think there's no better way to become a real professional game designer than to just start designing games at any level with whatever tools you have. But the number of games that are actually going to be special, the number of games that are going to be memorable, the number of games that could actually be sold commercially is going to be very small. Like Cave Story, AM2R. You know what? I'm going to throw Forager in there, which is a game I've been playing a lot replaying a lot recently. I think I put another 30, 40 hours in the Forager while we've been quarantined. Which started out as like this little game jam title and then became something a little more. Not a remarkable game, but I think it's worth 10 or 15 bucks. And I've definitely played it for, like I said, 40 hours plus however much I put into it the first time I played it. But not every like homebrew, ROM hack, amateur game project has the capability to be something special like that. I think it's fine that this game just is what it is and doesn't live up to whatever my hype expectations should have been. It's fine this game's not the same quality of Zero Mission or AM2R. I like it for what it is, because I like... Is this where I want to go in? I think so. Because we didn't get the Ice Beam in Brinstar. We do have to get it here. Oh, that's an exit. We want to come out of there. Okay, so that's where you would go in the NES version if you didn't already have the high jump. So this is going to be just a dead end with some missiles, and we go up to the top to get our Ice Beam. I actually don't know where I would be without projects like that in my life. Because I know I'm going to great lengths to kind of walk back the criticism I've already given this game. But I really don't know where I'd be without projects like that. Because you know what else fits in that same boat? Of this is only special to people who played like the original game. Otherwise, it has no... Randomizers have that everything I said fits randomizers to a T. Randomizers have zero mainstream appeal. None at all. You cannot sell a Link to the Past randomizer for 15 bucks. Even if it was legal, you would not make a profit. There's just not enough. The only people who want the Link to the Past randomizer are the people who have played 1,000 hours of Link to the Past and are still not tired of it. And I have played various randomizers way more than I've played any other game this year, easily. 2020 has been the year of randomizers for me so far. Oh, this is the bad Batoon boss. Okay. It's actually virtually impossible to hit Batoon with missiles, and it is incredibly easy to just accidentally walk out of the door. And as far as I can tell, they didn't alter his hit points or anything. So the fight just goes on and on and on forever. I'm not sure what is required to do a little bit of tweaking with boss data in the in the Super Metroid ROM hack scene. Like, what would it take to actually make Batoon an interesting fight? Or to give him an appropriate number of hit points for when you meet him at this point in the game. But I don't think anything was done. I think all that was done was, okay, we just plot Batoon into this room instead of the room where you fight him later. The reason I'm not using missiles is because there's no missile refills in this game, except for what you get as drops off of enemies. And we're going to need a lot of missiles going forward. I do not want to be short on missiles. Also, just the rapid fire of Samus's gun, which is way faster than an NES Metroid. Spamming regular shots is just the more efficient way of actually connecting with the boss, and I don't think missiles do that much more damage than this charge shot anyway. Like, I think even in Super Metroid, the regular charge shot is better than a single missile, and I can rapid fire this charge shot so much faster. Also, foreshadowing reasons. There's reasons why I can't use missiles against the next boss anyway, but I do want as many missiles as I can get for Torian. And you see, Kraid didn't give me any. I'm supposed to get 75 missiles for fighting Kraid, and I got nothing. Just big old goose egg as far as missiles go. It's just what pickups you get. And I don't feel like doing a hundo run at this. And in we go. This gets us our Ice Beam, which is going to be instrumental. And the beams do stack in this, which is nice. So I will have a charged Ice Beam now, instead of an Ice Beam replacing my charge beam. That's actually something I've seen in NES Metroid ROM hacks. We'll do a similar thing. I know that there's an NES hack that, because I've played the Metroid 1 randomizer, the Metroid 1 Zelda 1 combo randomizer, your Ice Beam and Wave Beam stack, which is nice. It's a good quality of life thing. It does also mean we're going to be picking up the Wave Beam in this hack. So we're going into the high jump door now. Obviously, there's no more high jump in this area. But there's some other stuff. Because we, I think all of the redundant energy tanks have been removed. There wasn't one in Kraid's room. The idea being, I think, you're not limited to how many energy tanks you can actually get. Don't have a hard limit of 6, which is nice. Let's see if I can remember my way through this little maze here. I don't know why he put a maze in the wall here. There's really no reason for this maze to exist. Oh, that's the exit. I need to go through here. Haha. Like, that's the kind of thing that you would expect to see in regular NES Metroid, but I don't know, like, he cut the room in Hideout 1 with just the long, like, bullet block shafts, but he replaced that simple room with something else, with something more aggravating. So this is a room in here that I actually got stuck on for a while. When I first was in Brinstar, I went up and saw the Kraid thing, right? This Kraid icon. I said, oh, this is just he's removed the long beam. This is just the path to Torian, and that's my little boss thing, because it looks like Kraid. And I didn't realize that it was actually an indicator that I could get through there after killing Kraid until I found this room. This is the path to the screw attack. But as you can see, it's blocked by lava, and you can't mid-air morph in this game. Unfortunately, I've tried.
Shoutouts to Wabafoodle for sponsoring this video. If you liked the video and you want to see more, please tickle my thumb, leave a friendly comment, and ring my little bell.